Imagine being young, in love, and trying to build a life when a total stranger assaults your partner and gets away with it. That's exactly what happened to my parents. No witnesses, no evidence, no justice. Until my uncle, a private investigator with nothing to lose, decided to flip the game. What followed was months of stalking, deception, and one drunk night that changed everything. If you've ever wanted someone to truly pay for their crimes, hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in. Because this is one of the most cold, calculated, and satisfying revenge stories you'll ever hear. My parents were barely out of their teens when they had me. They were both college students, full of hope, energy, and dreams. Most days, while they were juggling studies and part-time jobs, I stayed with my grandparents. Life wasn't easy, but it was ours. On weekends, they'd sometimes go out with friends. One such night would change everything. They were at a local bar, nothing fancy, just a place with loud music, cheap drinks, and too many people. That's where he showed up, a drunk guy, slurring, smirking. Uninvited hands reached out toward my mother. She pushed him away. She said no. But this creep didn't take no for an answer. My dad saw what was happening and stepped in. A short confrontation followed, but it seemed like that was it. The guy backed off. My parents tried to move on, thinking the worst was over, but it wasn't. Half an hour later, out of nowhere, someone smashed an empty glass pitcher straight into my dad's face. He went down instantly, blood pouring from his nose. The bar was too crowded, too loud. No one saw who did it. And my dad, between the alcohol and the concussion, he remembered nothing clearly. He was hospitalized with a broken nose and a severe concussion. And the guy who hurt him vanished into the crowd, unknown and unpunished. Helplessness and fear. My mom was shaken. The police were sympathetic, but without a name or clear evidence, there was nothing they could do. It was filed as an assault by an unknown perpetrator. Then, a few days later, the creep showed up again, this time on campus. He smirked, made veiled threats, all but confessed. He wanted her to know it was him. He told her my dad should have minded his manners. He even mocked the assault, said groping her wasn't that bad, and if he wanted to do it again, he would. She went home sobbing. My dad was enraged, but what could they do? They didn't even know the guy's name. The cop said the same thing. It was a classic, he said, she said. I was just a little kid. I don't remember much, just my dad's swollen face and my mom crying more days than not. Our home, once filled with laughter, turned silent. The weight of powerlessness blanketed everything. My uncle, my mom's older brother, lived on the other side of the country. He was a private investigator, the kind of guy who believed in justice but wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty. He was the last to hear the full story. But the moment he did, he packed a bag and drove cross-country. When he arrived, he listened, quietly, intensely, and then he said 6 words that gave my mom a flicker of hope. Point him out, I'll handle it. It took a few days of campus stalking, but eventually my mom spotted him. From that point on, my uncle went full predator mode. He used his PI license to dig deep. He took sick leave, burned through vacation days, camped out in his car, followed the guy from class to bars to shady deals. He even befriended him at a bar, pretending to be just another laid-back party dude. Over weeks, he built a rapport. They became drinking buddies, and while the creep thought he was bragging to a fellow degenerate, my uncle was silently building a case. Turns out, this guy wasn't just a predator. He was a small-time criminal, too. Drugs, theft, shady hookups. My uncle collected it all, but he wasn't interested in getting him for drugs. He wanted the scumbag locked up for what he did to my mom. And for what he did to my dad. And to do that, he needed a confession. The trap one night, after weeks of planning, my uncle invited the guy to his motel room for a drinking session. He made sure the creep got blackout drunk. sloppy, loose-lipped, stupid. And then the questions started. My uncle played it cool, laughing, nodding, pretending to be impressed. And then the creep said it. There was this chick at a bar. I groped her, her man got all loud, so I busted a pitcher over his head. Dropped him like a sack of bricks. And that's when the camera caught it all. See, in our country, secret audio recordings are often inadmissible in court. But video? That's different, especially when it's made by a private citizen, not law enforcement. My uncle knew exactly how far he could go, and he went all the way. The next morning, my uncle walked into the police station. He handed over everything. He also turned himself in because secretly recording someone was technically illegal. He was fined the equivalent of $2,000. He paid it that day. No hesitation. Money well spent, he said. The video was played in court. The creep sat there pale and sweating as his own words condemned him. 6 years in prison, mandatory restitution payments to my mom and dad, humiliation, incarceration, karma. All thanks to the quiet fury and relentless love of one brother who refused to let his sister live in fear. When the judge handed down the sentence, my mom cried again, but this time out of relief. My dad stood up a little straighter. And my uncle? He didn't say much, but the look on his face? Pure, cold satisfaction. That man didn't just get revenge, he delivered justice. Sometimes the system fails the victims. Sometimes evil people slip through the cracks. But when you have someone in your corner who's willing to go further than anyone else, you can turn fear into power and pain into justice. If this story gave you chills or made you wish you had a badass uncle like this, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge stories that prove karma always finds a way. And tell us in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Because sometimes justice needs a little help.